Hi, it's me again. Good evening. And today I want to bring how to choose the right child care provider for your children. I had such good information. I couldn't wait to share it with you guys. So I have about maybe 2 or 3 tips I want to go over with you guys. So hopefully with me taking the time to sit here and go over these tips and these life experiences and my 30 years of experience um, helps me. And one of the things we do as working with our children, when they're first placed into our home, what do we have to do? We have to find a good provider. So, how to choose the right child care provider for your family? We have to choose a good provider that your child could feel comfort and safety. Also, we have to choose providers too, but that's another video, y'all. So providers with doctors, right? We always got to do that too. So introduction, y'all. Here go my notes. I got it written down. As a parent, one of the most important decisions we'll have to make is choosing a child care provider for our children. We all know that can be stressful too for parents. So, whether you are a working parent or just need some time to run errands or attend other responsibilities, you want to ensure that your child is safe and in a nurturing environment, right? So, but with so many options available, how do we know which one is the right fit for our family? So, here are some tips on how to choose a great or good provider for your family. So, me, I want a great provider. So, here we go. So, but with so many options available, how do you know which one is the right fit for you, right? So, it's all good. We will explore some key considerations when choosing a child care provider for your child. So, we're going to do that. I'm going to note that. If anybody got any comments, anything you want to note down below, anything that can help me to help someone, I'm all for it. So, from determining your child care needs to evaluating different providers, we will provide practical tips to help you make an informed decision. So, after all, your child's safety, well-being, and development are at stake, and that's what we are all about. Okay, so here we go. There are several tips of child care providers to choose from around you. Some of the most common options include daycare, in-home child care, and nannies. I'm sure we're all familiar with those options, right? Now, the question is, what are the factors to put into consideration before choosing an option for your little one? So here we go. The first step, you guys, the first step is to identify childcare needs. So identify what you actually need. What do you need? What your childcare needs is. What your child needs. You know, when they're going to this daycare, you know how to pick and choose, right? So before you start looking for childcare providers, it's important to identify your needs and what you look forward to achieving here. So what can they do? What can you achieve for it? Is it something your child just gonna go there and sit every day, not learn anything? No, right? We want them to be productive. So here we go. It might help to ask yourself for the following questions. What type of care do you need? Is it full time or part time, before or after school? What is your budget for your child care? What location is more convenient for you? You know, like getting off from work, swinging through, getting the kiddo, going home. So, which location is convenient for you? Do you need care near your home or workplace? What are your expectations for the quality of care? Do you want a provider who offers educational activities or specific services? What age range does your provider serve? Oh, what used to be good with me, I chose the provider. We actually had childcare right next door to where I used to work. It was so awesome. Just walk out, get in your car, and drive next door, and pick up my grand. So, by answering these questions, you can start to narrow down your search and focus on providers that meet your needs. The second step is consideration. Consider your options. Consider what options you have around you. So once you have identified your childcare needs, it's time to consider options. So, these are several tips of childcare providers available, each with your own advantages and disadvantages. Got to write that down. Advantage, disadvantage. So some of those common child care providers include, so here we go. I have a list written down here. So hopefully this will help some mothers out to be able to find good child care providers for your child. So child care centers. Child care centers are licensed facilities that provide care for the children of various ages. Three centers often have multiple rooms and staff members, and they may make offered structured activities and educational programs. Some of them do. So family child care homes, these are smaller home-based facilities that provide care for the smaller number of children. Family child care provides may be licensed and unlicensed and may offer a more flexible and personalized approach for your child care for your child. Nannies, babysitters. So these are individuals who provide care in your home. Nannies may offer more personalized care and flexibility, but they can be more expensive than other options. So that's an option. If you guys have the money, you can get a nanny. I would prefer to have a nanny too. So pairs. These are foreign nationals who provide live-in child care in exchange for room and board. Au pairs may offer a cultural exchange experience for your child, but may have limited experience and qualifications, you guys. So here we go. So sit down, consider these available options, including the advantages, the disadvantages of each option, and think about what would work best for your family, specific needs, and circumstances, right? So thirdly, you might need to do a little bit of research or on a more complex research. Once you have narrowed down your options, it's time for some personal research. So once you narrowed it down to so many, you got to research what you narrowed down, right? So here we go. Start by asking the recommendations from friends, family, co-workers who have used child care providers. I know sometimes they have the most stars and things online. Sometimes they have to go down there and read some comments. So you can also check online. There you go. I did write that. So you can also check online reviews or ask for references from providers you are considering. Here we go. When evaluating providers, consider the following. So here we go. You can also, you guys, start by asking recommendations for friends, family, co-workers who have child care providers already too. Forgot to throw that in there. So when evaluating providers, consider the following. You can check online reviews and reference for providers. Okay, here we go. So licensing and certification. Make sure the provider is licensed and certified by the state child care licensing agency. This ensures that the provider meets minimum health and safety standards. Staff qualifications. Find out about the provider's staff qualifications and about their training. Or they succeed experience, yeah. Are they experienced in working with children? Do they have certifications in early childhood education or relevant fields? Or, do they have training? Or are they just hiring somebody? Do they have certificates in daycare provider or teacher, early childhood? This includes things like background checks for staff, immunization requirements for children, and emergency plans in case accidents or illness. So health and safety, that's a key. Make sure the provider also have policies in place to ensure the health and safety for your child. So you drop your child off, right? So make sure they're experienced in working with children. Make sure they have their certifications, you guys, in early childhood education or relevant fields. Make sure they got all of this. And this ensures to meet the health and safety standards of the state. This include, like I said, the things for background checks, make sure everybody got the immunizations, shot records for children, again, emergency plans in case emergency accidents or illness that occur, in the daycare. They have things set up to keep all the children safe and, from harm. Acts if they experience with safety protocols and policies like food, nutrition, make sure it's clean, as well as communication with parents. So if your child needs something or they allergic to something, make sure they have all that in place to make sure your child don't eat or drink anything, that they might not be able to consume. So, Curriculum and activities. Remember, I said curriculum. If you're looking for a provider that offers educational activities or unstructured programming, ask about their curriculum and activities. What type of activities do they offer? How do they support children in learning and development? Location and hours. Remember, I said I like mine was next door. Consider the location of the provider and their hours of operation. Make sure they're convenient for your schedule. Okay. Cost, that's a big factor. So cost is also very important, so that your research on cost of the provider and whether it fits within your budget. Remember that the cheapest option may not always be the best option, right? So just kind of figure those things out. We know what we can do, we know what we can't do, right? But cheaper is not always better. That's what I say. A box of macaroni versus homemade macaroni. We digress. So the fourth step to visit the provider. There are a lot of reasons why we should visit your child care provider. One of the first and primary reasons to visit child care providers is to serve, observe the environment, walk around. Usually I did a tour where I looked into the location to see if I liked the area, if I liked the surroundings. One of the first and primary reasons to visit a child care provider is to observe the environment. As a parent, you want to ensure that your child will be in a safe and clean environment that promotes healthy play, healthy learning. Also, by visiting a child care provider, you can access the cleanliness of the facility, the organization of the space, and the availability of age-appropriate toys and equipment. This can also give a peace of mind. You're at work, you want to make sure that your child is being taken care of. So this will also be a peace of mind, knowing that your child will be spending their day in a safe and stimulating environment. Another important reason to visit your child care provider is to meet the caregivers. You want to meet who's going to be, taking care of your child and who's going to be spending most part of the day with them. And you want to ensure that your child will be in the care of a qualified and caring individual. By meeting the caregivers, you guys, you can evaluate their qualifications, experience, and conduct, how they carry themselves. You can also ask questions about your caregiver, approach to child care, and how they handle different situations. This will help determine if the caregiver is the right fit for your child. You asking them how they handle certain situations, what are their guidelines, what are their protocols. So this is a good thing to make sure you ask whenever you're meeting your child care provider, you guys. So by observing, that'll kind of help you a lot with, whether or not you want to leave your child, in their care or not. So one of the crucial reasons why you should visit the child care provider, as I advise, observe, interact with them, between the caregiver and how they interact with the other children, how they interact with the children in the facility. So I'm pretty sure you want caregivers who are warm, nurturing, and responsive to the child in their care. So you want to make sure they're attentive to the children. Hopefully the children are not getting hurt. Of course, we know sometimes things happen, but for the most part, you want to make sure they're attentive and monitoring the children really well. So by observing the interaction between the caregivers and children, you can easily estimate how the caregivers respond to the children's needs, how they communicate with them, and how they handle challenging behaviors. This can help you determine if the caregiver are providing quality care or fostering positive relationships with the children. Lastly, visiting a child care provider also provides an opportunity for you to ask questions. So this is an important part of the decision-making process, you guys, to ensure that all of your concerns are addressed before entrusting your little one to that provider. So I usually make sure before I leave, whether or not that's a good fit for me. So by asking all the questions, I can learn more about the provider. I usually ask about their policies, procedures, and philosophy, what it's about, what their policies are, what procedures, what their philosophy is. So you can also inquire about a provider's approach to discipline, nutrition, and communication, as I mentioned earlier in the note. So this should help you make an informed decision, you guys, about the provider. Is the provider fit? Is it right for you? Is it right for your child? So that's an important part. Is the provider, the child care provider that you're using for the child, is it a good fit for them? Is it a good fit for your child? So again, we have made it to the end, you guys. If you made it to the end, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Hopefully these tips, what I've learned over the 30 years of experience and pouring it out to you guys, hopefully this helped you in finding a good provider for your child. Choosing the right child care requires careful consideration and research. It is important that you prioritize your child, you guys. Prioritize their safety, whether or not they're happy, whether or not they want to go to the school, whether or not they're developing your child. That's the right decision. What's a good decision in regards to making sure all of those things are met for your child, right? Because those first 5 years are crucial, right? Just learning, picking up new things, and we want them to grow, right? We want them to grow up healthy. So by considering the few factors, you guys, and the tips that I've shared, you should be able to make an informed decision and feel confident in the child care and make sure that your child is in good hands. So get into action now. I'm Cheryl with the CP family. Good night, y'all. Bye.